Hi grade 4! I'm glad you decided to join me for this math video today. So today, your math video includes the following things. You are going to do a daily math on measurement, then we are going to move on to some problem solving. We're going to keep practicing those subtraction strategies, and 3-digit multiplication. Now that's the same thing as 2-digit multiplication, but with an extra digit. While we get used to practicing this, I'm going to model partial products because I know that is the strategy you are all most comfortable with. Now, don't stress if you're using Grandma and Grandpa's way and that makes sense for you. That's great. I'm going with the majority of people. Where the majority of people are at is partial products, and that works cool. That works great. Now, if you're at home and you're getting help from somebody at home who's showing you another strategy and it's making sense for you, go for it. I've had a lot of questions from families wondering if, I'm doing it Grandma and Grandpa's way. Do I need to know a different way? No. You get to do it however it works for your brain. Our brains are all wired differently. We all think differently. There's no one way to teach math. So do what works for you. You should just make sure that it's something that you can remember the steps, you're getting the right answer, and it makes sense to you. Those are the 3 things that matter to me, okay? The other side of our math, we're going to be working on creating equations with remainders. So keep in mind that whatever I'm doing is not the only answer for this. If you want to do it on your own and come up with your own, that's awesome. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to go through it with you guys, but that doesn't mean that you need to do the exact equations that I have done. If you're using this to correct your work, it might look different. Okay? So, on that note, grab your math booklet, or if you're working from your screen, grab your screen, or if you're just watching this to help you find a quiet place to focus, and let's get going with our math. All right, happy humans, it's time for grade 4 math. I am so happy that you are here to join me today. My lighting, I'm filming this at a different time of day. I'm filming it at the end of the day instead of the beginning of the day, and I'm finding my usual lighting setting isn't great because I have light coming in from outside too, so I apologize for the shadows. I'm doing my best to just stay out of the way so the shadows don't show up. Anyway, what time is it? So this is our daily math on measurement. What time is it here? Okay, so it's not quite 12. It's 11, and we count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. It is 11:45. 11:45. All right, and it doesn't tell us whether it's AM or PM, so 11:45 is sufficient. Now it says the time is 2:15. What time will it be in 55 minutes? Now you could count on 55 minutes, or you could know that 55 minutes is 5 minutes short of an hour. I'm going to show you both ways to do that. So the first way is to start at 2:15 and to count 55 minutes. And let's do that on this little clock here. So 15, 20, 25, or sorry, I counted wrong. I start at 15, and then I'm just going to put a mark here showing I've started there, and I'm going to count 55. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. So it's going to be 3:10 because I went all the way around. I passed 3 o'clock, and I did 10 more minutes. Now, if you wanted to do it the other way, you could do 2:15 plus 1 hour is 3:15. 55 minutes is 5 minutes shy of an hour. So I just do 3:15 and go back, think on the clock. So I'm at 3:15, I go back 5 minutes, and then I'm at 3:10. Okay. And then I minus 5 minutes, and it's 3:10. Either way is fine. Time is tricky. Time is a tricky thing for people to figure out. Practice, if you have a clock at home, practice reading it, practicing what will the time be in 30 minutes, and trying to figure it out. That's a really good life skill to have. What is the perimeter of a rectangle 5 centimeters wide and 8 centimeters long? Okay, so I've got a rectangle here. That isn't to scale, but sorry guys. It's 5 centimeters wide and 8 centimeters long. So to figure out the perimeter, do you remember the formula for that? You do length times width, or width times length. So length times width, 5 times 7 is 30. Oh, 5 times 8. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. 5 length times width, or width times length, 5 times 8 is 40. I wrote the wrong thing. It's 8 centimeters. And what do we have to remember with when we're doing any measurement? We want to put the unit of measurement. So 40 centimeters, not 40 millimeters, not 40 inches, 40 centimeters. What is the year 1 decade after 1934? So decade is a word you might have heard before, but you may not know what it is. I know I've used it in math class. A decade is 10 years. Okay, so a decade is 10 years. What is 10 years more than 1934? 1934 plus 10 is 1944. 1944. Okay, about how long would it take you to brush your teeth? 4 minutes, 4 seconds, or 4 hours? Now, 4 hours, you probably would have some gum issues if you brushed your teeth for 4 hours. Don't do that. 4 seconds, you may also develop some gum issues because 4 seconds is not long enough to brush your teeth. 4 minutes, that's a good long toothbrushing. All right, I think dentists, I'm not sure how long they recommend, but it takes more than 2 minutes probably to do your teeth properly. So 4 minutes sounds good. All right. Leonard delivers newspapers to 21 houses on Main Street, 16 houses on Elm Street, and 34 houses on Lincoln Avenue. How many papers does he deliver all together each day? How many papers does he deliver in a week? So first we have to figure out how many he does in a day. So 21 plus 16 plus 34. So I add them together, 21, 16, 34. And I'm going to add them. So 1 plus, okay, let's do this first. 6 and 4 is 10, I know that. 1 more is 11. So I have 1, 1, and I have a 10 to add to my pile of 10s that I'm adding here. I'm going to zoom in a bit. So I have a bunch of 10s. So let's count my big numbers first. 3 plus 2 is 5, and then I have 6, 7 10s. So in a day, he delivers 71 papers a day. That's a lot of papers. Okay. In a week, we have to times that. Now, I think the paper probably comes every day of the week. It used to when I was a kid, so let's go with 7 days a week. It's possible that they don't deliver the paper every day of the week now, but let's go with 7 days. So 71 times 7. Let's make some space for this. 71 times 7, and I am going to use the partial products strategy to help us here. So partial products strategy. And I'm going to start, do you remember how we start for partial products? We multiply our 1s, we multiply our 10s, and then we add them together. Okay, so we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to start with my 1s. 7 times 1 is 7. Now I'm going to multiply my 10s. Because I'm multiplying in 10s, I put a 0 here to hold my place. And then I can just go 7 times 7. So 7 times 7 is 49. Now, I add those two numbers together, and it's 497. That's a lot of papers in a week. 497 papers in a week if he's delivering papers every day. Now we're going to switch to the whiteboard view for our subtraction and multiplication. Let's work through the first two here. So I'm going to be modeling Grandma and Grandpa's way. I know some people like to start at the bottom number and count up. If that's for you, go for it. If you prefer this way, let's practice. So 1 subtracts 7. I can't do that. 1 is smaller than 7. Those two don't work because I've 1. Can I take 7 fingers away from this 1? No, I cannot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to borrow from my neighbor. So I cross out this 6, and now the 6 10s are 5 10s. I'm going to move a 10 over here, So now I have 1 10 and 1 1. So I have 11 subtract 7. Okay, so 11 subtract 7. I can start at my 7 and count up. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 4. Now I move on to my tens. I have 5 tens, because remember, I moved one of them over there, and I'm taking 0 of those tens away. So 5 tens subtract no tens is still 5 tens, 50. 600 subtract 400 is 200. All right? I hope those ones make sense. Now let's go over to the next one. So this one is pretty straightforward because the top numbers are all bigger than the bottom numbers. So 5 subtract 5 is 0. I have 0 once. 8 subtract 3, 8 subtract 3, well 8 subtract 4 would be 4, 8 subtract 3 is 5. And 1 subtract 1 is 0. Okay, so I have 50. The difference is 50. Second to subtraction problem. So I have 7 subtract 3. So my ones are pretty simple. 7 subtract 3 is 4. My next one, my tens, 40, take away 90. Well, I can't do that, so I need to borrow from a neighbor. So I cross out my hundreds. I don't have 600s anymore because I have 500s because I'm going to take one of my hundreds and move them over. So now I have 14 tenths. So what I've done is I've moved, my number was 40, now it's 140. That's all we're doing. I know it says 14, but remember this is in the 10 spot. I don't want to confuse you, so I'm going to erase that. 14 subtract 9 is 5, and 5 subtract 2 is 3. 354. Okay, on to my next one. 469 subtract 407. 9 subtract 7 is 2. 6 subtract 0 is 0. 4 subtract 4. Did you catch my mistake? 6 subtract 0 is 6. 4 subtract 4 is 8. 862. All right, now let's move on to our multiplication. Problems here to solve. I'm going to use partial products for both. So partial products, if you remember, is where I multiply 2 times 5, 20 times 5, 600 times 5, and then I add them all together. So I'm breaking up this number into 600s, 2 10s, and 2 1s, and I'm multiplying each of those separately and then adding them together at the end. So this is a really good strategy because it's easier to understand. So 2 times 5 is 10. 5 times 20, so just do 5 times 2 and add a 0. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 20 is 100. 5 times 600, well 5 times 6, what's 5 times 6? Right, it's 30. So it's going to be 30 with 2 zeros because it's 600. So 30, I'll put my 2 zeros here, and then I write 30. Okay, now I'm going to add these together. 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus 0 plus 0 is 1. 1 and 3. 3,110. Now for the next one. 4. So again, I'm multiplying my ones, my tens, and my hundreds, and then I'm adding them all together. 4 times 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. And I'm keeping my tens in my tens column, my ones in my one column, otherwise it's going to get confusing. 3 times 2, which is actually 3 times 20. So 3 times 20 is 60. Just do 3 times 2 and add a 0 because you're timesing by 20. Then 3 times 100 is 300. Now, I add all of these together. I've got 2, 7, and 3. So, all of these together are done. Let's move on to the next two. So I'm going to go through these quickly. 5, remember I'm multiplying my ones, I'm multiplying my tens, I'm multiplying my hundreds, adding them together. That's what this strategy is. So 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 50 is 25 with a 0 at the end. Because 50 and 5. Just keep the 0 in there. And this is a concept we will keep exploring in grade 5. So if you're not getting it yet, keep practicing it, okay? 5 times 200, so you do 5 times 2, and it's 200, so you have 2 zeros on the end. So 5 times 2 is 10. So put your 2 zeros here, and then just do 5 times 2 is 10. You're holding that place. Now, 5, 7, 2, and 1. I've added all my partial products together. Now I have my final product. So let's do this one. 9 times 4. Let's remember my trick for 9 times table. So I go 1, 2, 3, and I put my 4th finger down. It's 36. 36. 4 times 6. Well, it's 4 times 60. So if it helps you, put the 0 here right away because you know you're multiplying in the tens column. So 4 times 6, 4 times 60. So 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 60 is 240. Now I move on to my next one. 500 times 4. So put your 2 zeros there to show you that you're doing in the hundreds. And then you just do 5 times 4 is 20. Now I add all my partial products up. 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, and 2. Now I have 2,276. All right, now we're going to move on to this fun activity where we're going to write some equations. Now, if you remember on Tuesday, we were working on checking our remainders using multiplication and addition, and I know that was a little bit much for a couple of you, and that's okay because you're learning and we're going to keep practicing. So all we have to do for this, it's asking us to make up our own division equations. Well, remainder of 2, think of a multiplication thing, and then add 2 to your answer and turn it into division. Not sure what I mean? Let's go through. So I'm going to think, and I'm going to write out the whole family here. I hope that doesn't confuse you. So I'm going to think 2 times 8 is 16. Oh, I can't do 2. Let's do, I just realized you can't have a remainder of 2 when you're multiplying by 2. That doesn't work because then it'll fit in. So it has to be a multiple more than 2. So let's do 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, so let's do 2 more than 21. 21 plus 2. 21 plus 2 is 23. So let's do 23 divided by 3. And that's going to be 7 with a remainder of 2. Do you see how we did that? If you're not sure, just keep paying attention because we're going to keep going through it. Now you can go and if this is making sense to you, I know there's going to be a couple of you going, oh, I get it. You don't have to watch the rest of this video. You can just work on it on your own because your answers could be different than my answers, and that's okay. If you're thinking, oh, I don't know about this, then you can watch me do it, and then you can go try and do it on your own. Or if you're really unsure, work through it with me a step at a time, because that's what this video is here for, right? So this is a remainder of 1. So I'm going to pick a multiplication fact. This time I can use 9. 2 times 9 is 18. I'm going to add 1. 18 plus 1 equals 19. So I'm going to take 19. I'm going to divide it by 2. Okay, 19 divided by 2 is 9 with a remainder of 1. Because 2 times 9 is 18, and we added 1 to that total, and then we did 19 divided by 2, 9 with a remainder of 1. Now, an equation with a remainder of 2, again, figure out one that works for you. I'm going to do something that works for me, and I'm going to do 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, and I need to have a remainder of 2, so I'm going to take that 20, and I'm going to add 2. So now I know I'm going to be dividing 22. I'm going to divide it by 5, and that's going to be 4. And I'm going to have a remainder of 2, because 5 divided by 4 is 20. So remember, if you want to refer back to what we worked on last time, that's all we're doing. We're just making up our own equations. So you can come up with any equations. If this is starting to make sense for you, you can throw this video out and go do your own thing. Again, if you want to keep working with me, let's do it. So remainder of 3, I'm going to do 4 times 6 is 24. And then I'm going to add 3 to 24. It's 24 plus 3, 24, 25, 26, 27. So I'm going to take 27. I'm going to divide it by 4. That's going to be 6 with a remainder of 3. Okay, an equation with a remainder of 1. 2 times 7 is 14. Okay, I'm going to add 1. 14 plus 1 is 15. So now I take 15, I divide it by 2. And you can draw these out if that helps you, but 15 divided by 2 is 7 with a remainder of 1. An equation with a remainder of 4. All right, so I can't use 2, I can't use 3, I can't use 4, but I can use 5. 5 times 3. Let's do 5 times 8. I don't know why I said 5 times 3. I like 5 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40. And I'm going to add 4 more. So 40 plus 4, that's really small, you probably can't read it, is 44. 44 divided by 5 is 8 with a remainder of 4. Now let's move on to an equation with a remainder of 3. So an equation with a remainder of 3. All right, so I go, let's do 4 times, 4 times, why is this so hard for me to think of right now? I'm going to use 4 times 6 again is 24. 24, I add 3 more. Oh, I already did that exact one up there. Sorry, guys. I need to film these in the morning. Apparently my brain is shot by the evening, and that's okay. All right, let's try a different one with a remainder of 3. So I'm going to go 5 times 7. 5 times 7 is 35. And I'm going to count 3 more, 35, 36, 37, 38. So now I have 38. If I divide 38 by 5, I will get 7. And remember, I added 3 more. I would have a remainder of 3. Okay, an equation with a remainder of 5. Well, let's think of some 6 times table facts. I know that that's something that grade 4s are starting to learn. So, 6 times 8 is 48. Okay, now if I want a remainder of 5, I need to add 5 to 48. 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. So 48 plus 5, 48 plus 5 is 53. Sorry, I just had to turn the notifications off on my computer so that they didn't disrupt us. So 48 plus 5 is 53. 53 divided by 6 is 8. Remainder 5. All right, last one here, guys, an equation with a remainder of 2. So let's pick 3 times 9 is 27. Add 3 more, so 27 or 2 more, plus 2, because we want to get that remainder of 2. 27 plus 2 is 29. 29 divided by 9 is 3, remainder 2. It's done. All right, now let's move on to the bottom part here. It says solve the division equations. If the quotient has a remainder, shade the box red. So if there's a remainder, it's red. If not, shade it green. You know, oh, my daughter was just down here and she left her markers. So I actually have markers. Look at that. I have a red and a green. Awesome, thanks Audrey. Okay, solve the division equations if the quotient has a remainder. So 20 divided by 5 is 4. No remainder, so I'm gonna shade it green. And I'm just gonna outline it in green. Oh, that outline's a little wonky. Sure. Yours will look much better than mine, I'm sure. 18 divided by 3. Now 18, what fact could I use for that? 18 divided by 3, what do you think? 18 divided by 3. Think about your facts, guys. Yes, it's going to go equally. It's going to be 6, and there's no remainder. All right, now I move on to 19 divide by 4. So 19 divide by 4. So I look at my closest fact. Okay, well, my closest fact is, because that isn't a 4's fact. Okay, 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, that's our closest 4's fact. 4 times 4 is 16. So, because our next 4's fact is 4 times 5, which is 20. And that's too much. So we go 4 times 4 is 16. So 19 divided by 4 is going to be 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. And then it's going to have a remainder. Let's count up from 16 to 19. 16, 17, 18, 19, with a remainder of 3. That one has a remainder. Let's outline it in red. Again, if you don't have red and green at home, just do the math. Some of you love coloring, some of you don't love coloring. That's okay. All right, so 5 divided by 3. 3 only fits into 5 one time. Okay, it only fits into one time. My fact for that is 3 times 1 is 3. Now I have to count up from that fact. 3 times 1 is 3 until I get to my dividend, this 5. So let's count. 3 times 1 is 3, 4, 5. I have a remainder of 2. I counted 4, 5, I have 2. 16 divided by 4. Well, we know 4 times 4 is 16, so the answer is 4. That one is green. Oh, I forgot to color in the last one. Oh, look at that. That one is red. Okay, 25 divided by 5. Well, 5 times 5 is 25, so 25 divided by 5 is going to be 5. That one has no remainder. Let's move on to the next one. 27 divided by 9. Well, that one, 3 times 9 is 27. So it's 3, and there's no remainder. All right, 30 divided by 10 is 3, because 3 times 10 is 30. No remainder. 14 divided by 3. Now we don't have any 3's facts that equal 14. So let's think about the 3's facts that could help us. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. So we can't use 15. We can't use 3 times 5 because we don't have 15 to divide. So let's cross that out, but we can use 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So 14 divided by 3 is going to be 4. And now we count up from this fact. We count up from 12, and we're just going to count up till we get to 14. 12, 13, 14. So we count up 2. We have a remainder of 2. This one has a remainder. It shall be red. All right, on to the next one. 32 divide by 8. 32 divide by 8. So think of your facts. Think of your facts. What facts about 8, what math facts do you know that will help you with that? Well, 8 times 4 is 32. So 38 divided by 8 is going to be 4. And there's no remainder because that's a fact that makes sense. It's a fact that fits evenly into groups of 8, or 8 groups of 4. 12 divided by 4. Well, 4 times 3 is 12, so 12 divided by 4 is 3. No remainder. And for our last one, 15 divided by 4. So what 4's facts can help us here? Well, 3 times 4 is 12. And 4 times 4 is 16. We can't use 16 because we don't have 16 to divide, so cross that out. That one's not very helpful. But we can use 3 times 4 is 12. So 15 divided by 4 is going to be 3. And then we count up from 12 to 15 to find out our remainder. So 12, 13, 14, 15. Remainder 3. All right? Now, I hope that that made sense to you. We will keep working on division with remainders next week. I would really appreciate if you could make notes on your math sheet and tell me what is making sense, what is not making sense. you can just write right on here. So if division with remainders is still something you want to work on because it doesn't make sense to you yet, put want to keep working, keep learning. Okay, and then you can just send it to me. Just put a little note so I can see. And then you could go here and you could say, but I love subtraction. Woohoo, yes, yes, got it. Okay, and you could send me that. Or maybe this measurement is making sense to you and you go, awesome. Okay, or maybe you're like, I'm finally getting this, Mrs. Oakes, or I'm starting to get it. Want to keep practicing. Okay, and that's okay too. So send me a shot, use your phone, take a picture of your work. If you want to put comments on there to show me how you're doing, because it's a little bit hard for me to assess your math from far away, but I do need to know how you're doing so that I can plan for next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. So send me some information, let me know how it's going. If things are easy or hard, you just put smiley faces. Maybe circle the smiley faces so I can find them easily. But this is something that's hard, or maybe it's easy for you. Okay? And we will keep working on all of this next week. All right, and that's it. You did it. That was your math for today. I hope it wasn't too much. If you're still looking for some math, you can check in on our class math channel. I will be posting some problem-solving things today. Again, these are just extras. Also, grade 4s, I've noticed that a few of us, when we're solving problems or the problems that are coming up, the issues that we're having, are really based in not knowing our math facts, okay? So the more you know your math facts and the quicker those facts come to you, the better. So if you have extra math time today, please practice those facts however you want to practice them. So I always recommend, if you have a deck of cards, picking a fact family. So say I'm going to work, or not fact family, like a number. So say I'm going to multiply every one of these cards by 3. I flip over a 2. 2 times 3 is 6. I flip over 6. 3 times 6 is 18. I flip over 7. 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, that's a really simple way to practice. You could make, I know a couple of you have told me you've made flashcards, which is awesome. Whatever works for your brain. Again, math is one of those things. You have to do what works for you. So you did it. That's your math for the week. I do recommend, if you have some extra time and you feel like doing some extra school, to work on those multiplication facts, those division facts, because those are going to help you in the rest of grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, and your whole life. All right? Have a wonderful day. I'll see you back on Monday for another math video.